Hi, everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about the waters being cursed in the last days, because I mentioned that in the video I did about the Heartland, and it was bugging me, so I had to find the reference, and it looks like I'm going to be doing a video on it. So if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you end up liking it, hit the notification bell, leave your comments, and make sure to share this on your social media. So this is found in Doctrine Covenants, section 61, and it's that famous one about the destroyer being upon the waters. And it looks like there's a few insights here as to what that means. So starting in verse 5, it says, "For I, the Lord, have decreed in my anger many destructions upon the waters, yea, and especially upon these waters," referring to the Missouri River. Verse 6, "Nevertheless, all flesh is in my hand, and he that is faithful among you shall not perish by the waters." Okay, now you got to skip down to verse 14 to kind of continue with this. "Behold, I, the Lord, in the beginning blessed the waters, but in the last days, by the mouth of my servant John, I curse the waters." So I'm going to click on the footnote for waters, like in the beginning, bless the waters. Takes you to Genesis 1:20. It says, "And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven." Okay, so in the beginning, in Genesis, he blessed the waters. And then it says, "By the mouth of my servant John, I curse the waters." Sorry, my cat is trying to climb on me while I'm doing this video. There's a footnote for cursed. And talking about John, of course, it takes you to Revelation chapter 8, verses 8 through 11. And it's funny because this is a chapter that I've done videos on recently, talking about fish dying and the trees being burnt up and the angels that sounded, and how I feel like these 7 angels are kind of match up back when Israel entered the promised land, the land of Canaan, with Joshua, and started taking over. In the story of Jericho, there were 7 priests with 7 trumpets, and through those means, the walls of Jericho fell down and they took the city, which I really do think that was a foreshadowing of the millennium. So anyway, this is Revelation chapter 8, verses 8 through 11. "And the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood." Now, some of your comments, you've mentioned the fact that we had Fukushima, which was the nuclear power plant in Japan. I think it was in 2011 where there was that huge tsunami, and there was radiation and stuff coming out of that. I want to dig into that deeper to see if that really is possibly a fulfillment of this, because the towers of a nuclear power plant, they're for the steam to come out of. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but it's what makes a nuclear power plant look like a nuclear power plant, is these big vents. I mean, it kind of looks like a mountain, so I don't know, it could be. Other people mentioned Chernobyl, so I'm going to do another video on that and see if I can find out more. But anyway, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called wormwood. And by the way, wormwood is like a bitter herb. So it's like you could put in place their bitterness, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, or bitter, or probably deadly. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Oh, there you go, bitter. So according to Revelation, the waters in the last days are to be cursed. And for that reason, we're being told not to, because let's go back up here to verse 7. Wherefore it is expedient that my servant Sidney Gilbert and my servant William W. Phelps be in haste upon their errand and mission. Nevertheless, I would not suffer that ye should part until you were chastened of all your sins, that ye might be one, or Zion, that you might not perish in wickedness. But now verily I say, it behooveth me that ye should part. Wherefore let my servants Sidney Gilbert and William W. Phelps take the former company, and let them take their journey in haste, that they may fill their mission, and through faith they shall overcome. And insomuch as they are faithful, they shall be preserved, and I, the Lord, will be with them. And let the residue take that which is needful for clothing. Let my servant Sidney Gilbert take that which is not needful for him, as you shall agree. And now behold, for your good, I give unto you a commandment concerning these things, and I, the Lord, will reason with you as with the men in days of old. And then he's okay. So he's talking to these people and going on their mission. Wherefore the days will come that no flesh shall be safe upon the waters, and it shall be said in days to come that none is able to go up to the land of Zion upon the waters, but he that is upright in heart. And as I, the Lord, in the beginning cursed the land, even so in the last days I blessed it in its time, for the use of my saints, that they may partake of the fatness thereof. So let's look at those footnotes. So curse the land takes you to Moses 4:23. And unto Adam, I, the Lord God, said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten the fruit of the tree, of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed shall be the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. So I think that this might be talking about the millennium, because we know that this curse basically happened in the Garden of Eden, and we know that during the millennium that's going to be reversed. The earth is going to return to its paradisiacal glory, and we're not going to have that problem anymore. So and then when you click on the footnote for blessed, for like the land being blessed in the last days, takes you to Doctrine Covenants 57, 1-5. Hearken, O ye elders of my church, saith the Lord your God, who have assembled yourselves together according to my commandments in this land, which is the land of Missouri, which is the land which I have appointed and consecrated for the gathering of the saints. Wherefore, this is the land of promise, and the place for the city of Zion. And thus saith the Lord your God, if you will receive wisdom, here is wisdom. Behold, the place which is now called Independence is the center place, and a spot for the temple is lying westward upon the lot, which is not far from the courthouse. Wherefore it is wisdom that the land should be purchased by the saints, and also every tract lying westward, even unto the line running directly between Jew and Gentile. I don't know what that means. And also every tract bordering by the prairies, insomuch as my disciples are enabled to buy lands. Behold, this is wisdom, that they may obtain it for an everlasting inheritance. Okay, so as in the beginning, okay, so look, and as I, the Lord, in the beginning cursed the land in the Garden of Eden, even so in the last days I have blessed it. And it's talking about the New Jerusalem in Independence, Missouri, Jackson County. In its time, for the use of my saints, that they may partake of the fatness thereof. And now I give unto you a commandment, that what I say unto one, I say unto all, that you shall forewarn your brethren concerning these waters, that they shall not, that they come not in journeying upon them, lest their faith fail, and they are caught in snares. And I, the Lord, have decreed, and the destroyer rideth upon the face thereof, and I revoke not the decree. So it seems like there's like several things going on here. Like I said in that last video talking about the Midwest, I think that there is protection moving inward onto the land, right? And avoiding the waters. And In one sense, I think that it's like literal, because it's, there are things going on with the waters. Like I said, I did that one video about all these fish that are dying in the water. We're having a lot of calamities occur, like these crazy tsunamis. We had the one in Indonesia. I think it was in 2004. We had the big one in Japan. I think that was in 2011. We have all these hurricanes and stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on with the waters. And especially this year, there's been a lot of crazy flooding in places like Enoch, Utah, which I think that that's kind of telling that the Lord basically controls all this. And there was crazy flooding in Enoch, Utah. We know Enoch in the city of Enoch is like a big part of the last days. But not just in Utah, it's been in Europe. Like, you're not really accustomed to seeing major flooding in Europe where like cars and stuff are being swept away, but there's any number of videos that you can search that show just that. If you watch channels like Jason A and the Two Preachers, it's like this year has been crazy. They have no shortage of content for their channels. All they do is watch natural disasters and things happening in the world. I'll put their channels in the description below. I would encourage you to follow them because I don't have the time to follow all that, but they do. So in a literal sense, the waters, yeah, they seem like they're cursed nowadays. And then in a spiritual sense, like I was saying in that other video, I think that there's a spiritual aspect to it. Because like I said before, water is where you find civilization. And civilization, it's always been wicked. Man and mankind, we're wicked. You think about Nebuchadnezzar's dream. It represents like the powerhouses of the world, the major empires. So first being Babylon, and then going on to the Persians and the Medians, and then after that going to the Greeks, and then after that going to the Romans, and then after that going to our days with like the European Union and the United States and these like Western countries mostly. It's wicked. And all the major cities, they're all found on the water, either along rivers or along shorelines, right? Because that's how trade and stuff was conducted, or that's what facilitated trade. Even today, trade is facilitated. You have like these cities like San Francisco and San Diego and stuff that have like ports, where trade is conducted, where things are imported and exported from. Nowadays, probably more so than before, these places are just so wicked. These major metropolitan areas, urban areas, they're more wicked, I think, than in days past. In the early days, okay, so for example, during Joseph Smith's time, if you wanted to, well, not so much in Joseph Smith's time, but maybe back like in the Bible, if you wanted to be with the people of God are going to be near water so that they could survive, right? Israel, in the land of Israel, it's right up along the Mediterranean Sea. It's somewhere that you can survive. There's rivers there and stuff like that. But nowadays, we don't really depend on that so much. You can go inland, and you don't have to be with the main body of the saints necessarily to spiritually survive. People can survive inland and connect through the internet and through different ways of communication. And so it's not the same. So it feels like the land is becoming more and more blessed, and the waters and the people of the waters are becoming more and more cursed. So let me just finish up with this section of the student manual for Doctrine and Covenants, talking about these verses. It says, "How is the water cursed?" President Joseph Fielding Smith pointed out how in the beginning the Lord blessed the waters and cursed the land, but in the last days this was reversed. The land was to be blessed and the waters to be cursed. A little reflection will bear witness to the truth of this declaration. In the early millenniums of the Earth's history, men did not understand the composition of the soils and how they needed to build up, and how they needed building up when crops were taken from them. The facilities at the command of the people were primitive and limited. Acreage under cultivation was limited. Famines were prevalent, and the luxuries which we have today were not obtainable. Someone may rise up and say that the soil in those days was just as productive as now, and this may be the case. It is not a matter of dispute, but the manner of cultivation did not lend itself to the abundant production which we are receiving today. It matters not the cause, what the causes were. In those early days of the world history, there could not be production nor the varieties of fruits coming from the earth, and the Lord can very properly speak of this as a curse or the lack of blessing upon the land. In those early periods, we have every reason to believe that the torrents, floods, and dangers upon the waters were not as great as they are today, and by no means as great as what the Lord has promised us. The early mariners among the ancients traversed the seas as they knew them in that day in comparative safety. Today, this manner of travel in such boats would be of the most dangerous and risky nature. Moreover, we have seen the dangers upon the waters increase until the hearts of men failed them. There it is again. And only the brave and those who were compelled to travel the seas ventured out upon them. In regard to the Mississippi waters, we have seen year by year great destruction upon them and coming from them. Millions upon millions of dollars almost annually are lost by this great stream overflowing its banks. Many have lost their lives in these floods as they swept over the land, and even upon this apparently tranquil or sluggish stream, there can arise storms that bring destruction. Verily, the word of the Lord has been and is being fulfilled in relation to those waters. While the Lord has spoken of the sea heaving itself beyond its bounds and the waves roaring, yet we must include the great destruction upon the waters by means of war, especially submarine warfare, as we have learned in recent years. That is interesting. I never really, so the ships of the sea. I always thought that when it was talking about that, I don't know what I thought that meant, because in Revelation, it talks about a third of the ships of the sea being destroyed. I never considered that could be because of warfare. There's certainly been a lot of ships of the sea that have been lost because of warfare. And, there's going to be the argument, well, it's, these chapters is talking about the seventh seal, so it doesn't apply to that because we were still in the sixth seal. Yeah, come on. You guys, I don't think so. Come on. Is that how he was talking? And he was a prophet of God. Do you think that he was talking in that sense? No, I don't think so. And we've had more warfare since that time. Maybe not so much naval warfare, but that's just something to think about. So it's an interesting concept, and it's interesting that it's linked to the last days into the millennium. It's linked to the earth becoming, receiving its paradisiacal glory again. And then just all the stuff that we do know has happened on the sea, as far as tsunamis and storms and fish dying and warfare and so on and so forth. So I'm going to end it there. If you guys haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, hit the notification bell, leave your comments with any additional thoughts that you have or any other information or anything that struck you. Make sure to share this on your social media, please, and I'll talk to you guys later.